And welcome to my playhouse. And today I want to check out this little Lenovo, I call it a TinyTop. It's the M93 and it's a very tiny form factor desktop PC. It's pretty awesome. It's like a laptop without a screen and all that stuff, but it's inside it's very similar to a laptop. Last year at some point I exchanged the CPU in this machine. It came with an Intel i3 4130, which I can actually see here because that's the CPU that is right here. 30T, and I exchanged that for this i3 4170, which was faster. So putting that in, I was expecting the PC to run faster, and it does run a tiny bit faster, but I am also suspecting that it's overheating because I've seen some poor performance. Last week I did a live stream where, well, it didn't perform as well as I had expected. So today I'm gonna open it up, check if everything is okay. I put on this cooling compound here that I bought from AliExpress. Very fairly priced, but I want to check out if maybe better branded cooling compound will improve on that, because, well, I have no idea how good this is. I've used it on a lot of stuff, but I don't really know if it's any good or if I could just use toothpaste. So we're gonna be trying that, putting on this way more expensive things. But before we do that, I really need to run some benchmarks to see how this performs before we started this, and then do some stuff, and then we'll run another benchmark afterwards. Otherwise we don't have anything to compare it with, right? So, and it's way easier to do this comparison before we start. So I'm not going to be screen capturing this because that would influence the results. You might say that if I just screen capture both, well, yeah, but if we're going to stress the CPU to 100%, the screen capturing might not work very well. So I'm just going to record the screen with the camera. So let's go to it and see what I've been planning, my evil plan. So first here is the CPU. It's the Intel Core i3 4170 processor. It's a 3.7 GHz processor. It does not have any kind of turbo boost, so that's the fastest it will run. This is from first quarter 2015, and it's 22 nanometer technology. Recommended customer price. You will never get to pay that. That's the ridiculous price. It has 2 cores, 4 threads, and that's the frequency, 3 megabytes of cache. Its bus speed is 5 gigathreads per second, and it has a TDP of 54 watts. That's one of the problems with this little tiny PC, is that the one I took out of it had a TDP of 35 watts. So I have increased this by a fair amount of watts, 19 watts I guess. So that might be the problem, that the cooling is not able to supply enough. Yeah, then there is a lot of stuff, and somewhere down here it says that the 72 degrees is where it should really be at. It shouldn't go higher than that, is how I read this. I went over to Tom's Hardware and I found that someone was talking about this CPU, Intel Core i3 max safe temperature, and someone posted a nice little graph down here that 30 degrees was cool idle. Then there is normal degrees up to about 60 degrees. Then it becomes warm, 70 degrees, then warm at 75, hot at 80 degrees. Core temperature in the mid 70s is safe, so no problem there. I have downloaded this program over here. Can we see that? No, it's just outside of framing. It's called CPU ID Hardware Monitor, and it tells you a lot of stuff about the CPUs in your system. It's really awesome for the amount of information, but it does become a bit overwhelming as well. So there is a lot of this part up here is kind of the system board, with all the data regarding what could be important for the CPU. Then there is the CPU, then there is a little bit of some hard drive, and there is some graphics, and in this case the graphics is in the CPU-ish. Part of it is inside of the CPU at least, so that could also be part of the importance. But what I'm really looking at here is the temperature of the two cores and the package, which is right here. So everybody likes this test program, Cinebench, this one. So I guess that we should try and run that and just watch the temperature go up. CPU run, and we will put that on top, and we should be able to see the temperature going. Oh yeah, there we are already up in the 70s, high 70s. I can hear the fan. It's going up. 80s, 81. It completed, and I let it cool again, but now we can see that the temperature was all the way up and reached 90 degrees Celsius, 194 Fahrenheit, and that might be a bit too high. So my thought was that we should try and take this apart and try with some of this, see if that would help any. So let's do that. Oops, almost forgot. Let's just remember that this scored 349. That might be important too. Okay, it actually been a while since I made this, the first video about this, so I think we should just have a little bit of a look at this. I have had a lot of new subscribers since then. This is the Lenovo ThinkCentre, and it's the Lenovo ThinkCentre M93, and this is a tiny PC. It's pretty cool. It uses the Lenovo laptop standard as a power supply. It has 2 digital display ports, it has 3 USB 3 ports, it has a older VGA connection, and it has a 1 gigabit Ethernet interface, and there is the possibility to get this unit with a Wi-Fi antenna as well. That's why there's a little Wi-Fi logo there. I do not have that. I should have had that. That would have been cool. And there's a Kingston locking mechanism thingy right there. On the front there is a power on button. There are some LEDs here that we can't see right now because it's off. We have another USB 3 port here, and we have a USB 3 port here, and this one has the yellow things because you're able to charge things from this port even though the PC is not on. Even if it's off, you can still charge things from here as long as the power supply is plugged in. We have a microphone input port, and we have 2 headsets. I use that when I stream. I record the sound from here and I listen to it here, so that's cool. This is for the Core i3. That's the one that's in here, and there is a serial number, and this one has been made for the Windows 8 version at some point, so that's cool enough. So let's open it up. Oh, there is the model number is here. It's the MT-M105A-S00100. Okay, let's open this tiny beast. Just one screw on the back to open. So let's get that out of there. There. And then the front will slide off like that. Oh, what have I done here? There's some dirt in here. So this is the PC in all of its glory. You can see there is not much in here at all. Down here is the CPU. There's a fan for the CPU. There's a hard drive here, and there is some all of this is very tiny connectors. And there's some RAM down here. I was actually hoping for putting in another RAM block. Right now it's 4 gigabytes of RAM. I thought it would be very cool to have some more RAM in there, so I might look into that. But right now let's take this out to see if that's not gonna cut it. If I can improve on the cooling. As far as I remember, we have to remove the fan. Oh, and we have one down here as well. I put on some cooling compound there. I don't know if that was a good idea. And this one just clips off. Put that over there. And there is 4 screws to loosen the whole CPU assembly, plus this thing. The idea is the CPU is down here. The heat is transferred up into this metal and is led away through this copper pipe over here, where there is kind of a cooler, and the fan blower blows cold air through there. That's the idea anyway. So I'm kind of curious on how the cooling compound is distributed underneath the CPU cooler. If I got on a good layer, or if I've been cheating, or why this isn't as good as I had hoped for. So loosen these 4 screws and all this assembly will come out. It looks like it had a good contact, but well, this is very wet, so it's not as if it's not, it hasn't dried up or anything. So we're gonna clean this off. I don't think we need to take the CPU out of the socket. That is very easy, you just open this and you can take the CPU out, but well, we're just gonna try and put on the other cooling compound. And if we look at this, we can see that the cooling compound has been squeezed out more or less to all the sides, so it's pretty well distributed. So that's not really that bad either. There. So let's open this thing. Oh, there is an easy opening mechanism on the back. Nice. And it kind of brags about how good it is. It's supposed to be up here, where the worst one is down here. So something like 5.1 degrees difference. That is probably bullshit, but well, let's see. A couple of degrees would probably also benefit the performance of this. Arctic MX4 thermal compound. Ooh, that's a happy camper. So I'm gonna do as I always do, a little tap. That was a lot. I think that's way more than I used on the other one. That looks so bad, but I'm sure it's enough. So let's put this one back on again. Let's just make sure that there is nothing in here. If it's clotted up, yeah, you can see through that. This CPU was sent to me by a subscriber here on YouTube. He's called Moman, but his real name is Jacob, and he sent this all the way from Australia, and I'm very happy with that. I think I'll give it a little bit of cooling compound down along to get some extra heat through that one. I don't know if that's gonna help me, but the idea is just to get better cooling. I don't care how. Last time I also gave it a little bit up here to have have a good contact with the fan, because the bottom of the fan is also metal. And my thought is, as much metal as I can distribute the heat on. You can see this is a metal plate, and right in here runs the fan, so I expect the fan will cool that down really fast. Okay, phone call in the middle of everything, so let's put the fan back on. I should probably just clean that just to make... There. That's it. I would really like to try and exchange the memory card, but for the test purposes I think I will wait with that. But I might just slide this on and then just not connect the back screw to make it easier when I've tested this, and whatever result I come out with, I'll go back and put in another memory block. Okay, computer is connected again, and I've opened up the CPU ID hardware monitor thing, and the maximum temperature it has seen so far is 54 degrees Celsius. Right now it's at, well, 40 degrees ish. So let's try and run the test again. I've also opened up Google, because I had that open in the last test to make it a little bit more similar, and I have this. So let's run the test, see the results, and we're already at 60 degrees. I'll just fast forward this and let's see where it ends. Okay, 84 degrees instead of 90 degrees. That is not bad. I have no idea which one of the improvements really did the difference, but it doesn't really matter. I gained 6 degrees. Let's see what the score says, if that's better too. No, that's not better. That went down. What the hell? I lost 12 points? No, 11 points. So that's not that great. That's a bit weird. I think we'll try and run this again and see what the results would be of that. I'll run. Okay, after completing the next run, it had a max of 89 degrees Celsius, and that's about the same as 90 degrees. And performance went down even more. We scored 349 on the first run, 329, so that's 20 points we lost there. Okay, this is rather weird. I rebooted this computer and ran it again. And let's see, it now scored 351, which is the best result I've seen for quite a while. But the temperature again went up to 90 degrees Celsius, which is also the highest I've seen. Oh, actually the same that I saw on the first run. Well, it didn't improve on the temperature, did it? And it didn't improve on the performance, so it didn't really improve. Well, to be straight honest, that made no sense whatsoever. Well, or maybe it did. Maybe the heating compound, the good branded one, and the better priced one was, maybe there is just not that much of a difference. I didn't see much of a difference in the performance or temperature or anything. Well, I think I've just wasted my time, and thereby also wasted your time, and your time is way more than my time, because usually there's a couple of thousand seeing these videos. So well, I'm gonna go and try something else. I was looking into the memory of this system, and these small packages here, I found some. I have one here that is 1066 megahertz. I have one here that is 1333 megahertz. And I just happened to notice that the one in the little computer here is 800 megahertz. So what kind of a difference would the memory frequency be? So I think I'm gonna do the next video and try out RAM. See if upgrading will do any difference. Thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again. Join me over at Patreon and have a really nice day. Bye bye.